One-to-one printing, this is not your ballot on demand for back office. There we have a high-speed printer where you would use for absentee if you're printing, hundreds of ballots at a time. There's a high-speed printer for that. It's not part of this process. Let me just check my notes real quick and make sure I didn't forget anything from the previous conversation. Of course, I can't read my notes at that moment. Okay, the only other thing was poll books. Hamilton County uses 10X, and I know you guys use 10X poll books here, so we've worked with them quite often, and we certainly understand what kind of integration needs to be done and things like that. So there'd be no issue with us being able to integrate and work with your 10X equipment that you have. So do you guys want to do absentee first, or do you want to do building ballot software first?
Absentee.
Absentee. All right, I'm going to bring up Sean. Who's going to go over the absentee system. And I just have one other question. Where did y'all get, sorry, Sean, this paper? Do you know?
I'm sorry, which
The paper that you use to fold up the ballots?
MCR.
Okay, perfect. That makes sense.
Why? Because
It's our paper, and I was like,
yeah. He said, well,
what do you guys do? Right, I was like, well, I know we did some,
I explained the situation. I said, do you think you can get me, I'm like, in a pinch, can you get me some ballots that are folded? And he said, well, which vendor? I got both of them. This one's Hart. He said, yep.
okay, good.
Yep.
Good. Sean and I were just like, wow, baby, it was from, we've done pilots here before.
No, we don't keep that paper that way.
That was 10 years
Absolutely
ago,
not.
so, okay.
Because Hamilton County does, use MCR, we were lucky
Right.
that they had someone on hand, so
Okay, perfect.
we took advantage of that.
Perfect. What's that?
Paper will do the scan every time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right,
Go for it,
so
Sean.
we'll talk about Verity Central, which is our application for high-speed scanning of ballots for your absentee by mail ballots. To set the stage, currently today, correct me if I'm wrong, stop me because I just want to set the baseline for your process. Ballots are coming back in. When can you open them up and begin the scanning process?
19 days for election.
19 days, okay. And you're putting them through in large batches through the high-speed scanner? Is it the 850?
Yeah, we break them down into either city or our city's ward.
Okay, so you're doing a pre-sort?
Yep.
Based on ballot style or
Yep.
jurisdiction?
Yep.
Putting them through the high-speed scanner. And then what happens if you've got voter intent issues? Voter filled in one box but circled another
We
candidate.
pull them out and send them to a remake team.
Okay, so they get duplicated.
Yeah.
Okay, so our approach is a little different. Overall is going to be similar, but a very drastic approach to the way that we deal with the scanning process and the resolution process for voter intent issues. So we use this commercial off-the-shelf scanner. This is a Canon DRG 1130. It's our kind of our mid-level model. It'll do 130 pages per minute. And that's slower throughput than what the 850 will do. I'll say that right out of the gate. But where we pick that up is we never outstack, our scanner never stops, and our voter intent issues never need remake or duplication because they're all handled online, on screen, through the software. So thinking about central scanning with our system is more of a software-based solution versus a hardware solution. Another big differentiator is that this system that I'm about to show you is not tabulating anything while the ballots are being scanned. It just is not a tabulator. So the end result is basically we're taking batches of ballots, scanning them digitally. There's a digital image. That digital image just gets analyzed by the software and corrects any, we resolve any voter intent issues. But the last step is to write all of the cast vote records to a V drive, which is identical, or yeah, it's the exact same V drive that would be in the devices in the polling location. So when a Verity scan unit is closed at the end of the night and the cast vote records are on the drive, it's the same way for your by mail ballots. You will write those ballots to the drive, and the drive will go to the same place. So everything is tabulated in Verity Count, and you don't have multiple places where tabulation is taking place and needs to be merged together. Any questions there? Okay. So we're going to do a couple of things here. I think Lawrence is passing out some more ballots. So I want you to mark some more ballots again with voter intent issues. do the tri-fold, treat them like a by-mail voter would, and we'll let you put those through the scanner here in just a minute. But I want to kind of show you a run with a pre-scanned batch that I've already done, and then we'll also scan those folded blank sheets that you got. Obviously, the scanner is going to reject them when it's over because they're just blank pieces of paper, but it'll show you the throughput of those sheets through the device.
Oh, sure. Do two if you want.
So one thing I want to reiterate, this is the first time we're diving into software. Behind the table here, I don't mean for it to be hidden. You can all come see it in just a minute. We have our HP server grade workstation. Remember, all of our devices, our PCs are in kiosk mode, so when you turn it on, it boots directly into this application. Actually, when you turn on our computers, this is what you see. It's the very first thing that you see. To log in with your username and password, and based on your permission level and what your login allows, you'll be able to see different applications and do different functions within the software. Our workstations back here have dual removable hard drives with RAID 1 redundancy built in, so it's kind of like getting two computers in one. If one hard drive were to fail, you'd be able to pull that hard drive. It would continue to run on one until you could get a replacement hard drive in there to complete the RAID array again. The other nice thing about having removable hard drives, well, two things. You could remove a hard drive while you're in the process of creating ballots, tabulating, doing your high-speed scanning, and put it into a fireproof safe or off-site so that you've basically mitigated the risk of something happening to your building or something being lost or stolen in that regard. The other nice thing about it with removable hard drives is, let's say nothing happened to the hard drive, but something happened to the actual PC tower itself, power unit, fan, anything like that. You could pull the hard drives and put it into another tower, one of your other towers, to continue operations. So it's really robust the way we've set up our hardware in that way, that we've got the dual hard drives, we've got the redundancy, but you can also just continue the process. If it's election night and something happens to one of those computers, you've got to be able to continue on. And so we've built it in that way. So I'm going to log in here and walk you real quickly through the process for Central. All of our software applications, as you'll see through the afternoon, have the same look and feel. It's a kind of a chronological chevron step design here. I'm going to select my election first. And then I can have multiple tasks in any given election here in Verity Central. So different tasks might be logic and accuracy testing, official results, anything that you might need to do multiple iterations of. And our system does have a completely separate, I should say, it's part of the database, but it is a separate ballot for test mode. So your test mode ballots would never be accidentally introduced into your live election results. But when I open up my task here, the very first thing it's taking me to is the scan screen. Again, I'm connected to my scanner here. This is where I would put batches of ballots. We recommend batches of generally 200 to 250 ballots at a time. I'll scan them. It's going to, like I said, it will not stop. It will not outstack anything. And at the end, prompts you to print a scan batch report that is attached to that batch. And the majority of the time, except for some sort of special circumstance, ballots are going to enter the room, go through the scanner, get a batch report attached to it, and then they'll go on the shelf and they're never going to be touched again. We're not worried about voter intent issues, anything like that, write-ins, nothing at that point. It's just get them through the scanner, put them away, and then we'll deal with all the voter intent issues at that point. So I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead because I've pre-scanned a batch in here already. I want you to see what this looks like. This is just 10 ballots that I've scanned. And you can see the ones that are darker, the red color means that there's a voter intent issue or some kind of thing that needs to be resolved on that specific ballot. So I can open up the ballot itself. And on this one, it's actually a bunch of undervoted contests. So the yellow, I can view the legend down here to see what the different colors mean. But I know yellow is undervotes. And then on the back side of this ballot, this cross-hatching means it's a completely blank side of the ballot. Now, when I'm in here, I can click into any one of these specific contests and see that this truly is undervoted. I don't see what looks like any voter intent markings. They weren't circling candidate names or anything like that. So in this case, I could just accept it, and that's basically saying, I agree, this is an undervoted contest. You don't want to have to be able to have to do this for every single undervote that comes through the system, but that's kind of the basic step of how it works. Instead of going through here and just randomly picking ballots with issues, what we recommend is that you use the filtering ability to look for the issues that you want. So, adjudication criteria, first thing I want to look for are blank ballots. So there's one blank ballot in here. Again, it's that kind of visually jarring cross-hatching. And this is meant to grab your eye and grab your attention, because why would somebody send in a completely blank ballot? There's probably something going on. They weren't following the instructions. And as soon as I dive into a specific contest here, I can see that that's the case. So there's no marks in the box. They were circling the candidate names. If your resolution team or whoever does this makes the determination that voter intent is there, I don't have to go find that ballot. I don't have to modify that ballot, mark it up in any way. It's just a simple toggle to assign the vote there. And so it now tells me this is marked, the other selections are not, and it has been user resolved. So that icon in the top corner lets me know that a user has stepped in and changed the way that the scanner read the ballot because of there's some sort of voter intent that has been resolved. And that user resolved status is something that I can filter for later to go back and see every contest that has had user resolution. Did you have a question?
Yeah, if a box was filled in for a candidate, and in the same race, a different candidate, like you have, was circled, but the box wasn't filled, would the program identify that race as a potential issue?
It would just see that as a clean, because there's only one mark in the